Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. It is 8:08 a.m. Pacific time on this crisp, sunny morning, or partly, sunny, or mostly sunny morning, I should say, under the 51-degree weather. Now, before we get into the topic that I'm going to discuss here, first of all, I want to let you know that I did just wake up a little while ago. I am drinking some coffee to wake myself up. So if I sound a little out of it, or I stumble a little bit, or I end up repeating myself at times, especially when I do these kind of audio videos, what have you, I do apologize in advance. But before we get into the topic here, I want you to do me all a solid favor, and that's like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notification, and share the video, and click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube. You can find me at all your favorite audio and video podcast affiliates like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, and Radio Public, and to an extent Sirius XM. Wherever there is a podcast to be found, more than likely you will find mine there as well. Also, you can find my content outside of YouTube as well at these other video platforms like Rumble.com, Odyssey.com, and VENMO. Links will be in descriptions for those. I also have a Daily Motion as well, and I do have a couple of other YouTube channels as well. If you want to check those out, one is under the BW Rose's discuss, or Brian's. One is under the Brian's discussions, and the other is Brian Walmer. But only a few videos. Those are meant to be there as backups. But if you want to check those out, that's up to you. But like I said, I also have I have an account at Rumble, Odyssey, and Vimeo, and even Daily Motion. Mainly due to the fact that 3 out of those 4, mostly the first 3, are more meant to give you not just the same kind of content you get here on the YT, but it's also meant to give you content that you can't get on the YT due to the YT maybe mistaking it for something that it's not, or basically I wouldn't be able to get away with it here on the YT, if you know what I mean. Also, guys, you can support me over at Patreon.com. If you want to check that out, I have plans for that in the future. I'm on the verge of figuring out what those plans are, and I'll let you know when it happens. Also, guys, you can support me at Venmo and Cash App. It would be greatly appreciated if you could help there if you would like. Donate what you can if you would like. Also, guys, SuperChats. SuperChats are open during the live chat, during the video premiere of this audio video, and Super Thanks will be open afterwards. Again, if you would like, it would really help me out at this time. If not, and you just want to come into the live chat during this video premiere and say hi, that's great too. And also give your thoughts on the subject that I'm talking about, here. That'd be great too as well. And you could do so in the comment section, if you will, during the premiere and after the premiere as well. But with that said, and again, guys, I do apologize. I did wake up a little while ago, so I'm still kind of, not all there. I'm drinking coffee to get me there, if you know what I mean. But let's get on to the topic at hand. Now, it wasn't that long ago I mentioned here on the YT on my channel that I had tried out the new Sora 2. That basically I had to jump through some hoops, if you will, to finally get an access code, an invite code to finally try it out. And the way I got it is I went through basically, I guess you could say, the more proper channels instead of going through instead of constantly refreshing and going through the Reddits and the social medias like Twitter and all that. I basically finally followed the instructions of just go to the OpenAI Discord page, or the OpenAI Discord page, if you will. Follow the directions there, and I was finally able to get a code. But the way you do that, once you follow the directions on the OpenAI Discord page, I'd say, once you follow those instructions, the best thing to do is to go all the way down to the bottom, and that's where you'll more than likely get a more up-to-date invite code to log into Sora 2. And there's a lot of people that have videos, here on the YT and elsewhere that explain that a lot better than I can. But anyway, speaking of Sora 2, around the same time, going back to talking about social media, which was another place you can get these codes, or at least you want to be patient enough, you can hopefully luck out, if you will. Twitter, if you will, X, if you will, Elon Musk, baby. I wouldn't say his baby, but basically one of his pride and joys. Elon Musk is Twitter, and mostly the Gronk AI feature. Decided to get was given a bit of an upgrade. The Gronk AI feature was given a bit of an upgrade. I didn't know about this. Honestly, I did not know. But it's Gronk.imagine, and I mentioned this before. It's called Gronk.imagine. Gronk.imagine. And this is just like any other AI site to where you can ask questions, but you can also create images and to an extent video. Well, now so you can create video if you like. And what's interesting about Gronk.imagine is now with the upgrade to the Super, because they do have a paid subscription you can get to, and this would give you more time, more access to the features in the AI. But basically, what this new upgrade to Gronk.imagine is it allows you not only to create images, but it also allows you to create videos more accurately, I think, than you would expect. And what I mean by more accurately, you can actually ask them to do something, and they may not get it right the first time, but once you kind of more emphasize of what you want, like you kind of copy and paste what the prompt is, and you put like a parentheses, on the right of the words and the left of the words and all that, or the right of the prompt, the left of the prompt, you'll probably get what you want. Sometimes you don't have to do that, and you will get what you want. But kind of emphasizing it with those parentheses, does kind of help out. But I've noticed that when I do ask it to do certain things, parentheses or not, there's a good chance I'm going to get it. Maybe not exactly the way I would want, but there's a good chance it's going to happen. It really is. Now, on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, not only does it give you what you want, but as I've alluded to before when I talked about it, you also have this thing called, you have this little section when you're getting ready to create a video prompt-wise and everything. You have this little section that you click on it. It's right near the play button that you click to activate the rendering or the creation of your prompt into video or even image. What it has right next to that play button is this little section that when you click on it, or this little button that when you click on it, it says fun or normal, or depending on the image that the AI is going to utilize, it will say either fun and normal, that's all, or again, depending on the image, it might even add the word spicy. So yeah, if the image is like kind of close to, ooh, this looks like it could be a little bit more adult-like and everything, or more for mature audiences, they will give you that option to go between fun, normal, and spicy. The only catch that they need to fix is that if you choose spicy, fun, or normal, it's just going to start making the video on its own. What they need to do is sync it all together so that the prompt goes along with the choice you make, if you know what I mean. But it is really good. It's actually pretty good. I was using it more last night, and I was kind of surprised at what I got. I was like, "Oh, this is pretty nice. This is pretty cool," because it took an image of Nicole. It took one of the images of Nicole the HoloLinks from the Archie Sonic books. It took one of the promotion, not just one, but two. Let me correct myself. It took two of the promotional images of the character from the Archie Sonic books. Pre-reboot and post-reboot. And all I did is put in some prompts, for it to do certain things, and I was surprised that it did it. Now, some of the things I asked it to do, I can't show here on the YT, or else goodbye. But I did ask it to do certain things like, have her put on lipstick and mascara, and it did. Have her use her holographic powers to change her outfit into something more, I guess you could say, flirtatious, and it did. And I was kind of surprised by that. I was really surprised. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And I even said have her act a very flirtatious, naughtily seductive way, and it did. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. This is pretty good to see that they're willing that that the upgrade basically is on par to what you see with, let's say, Hallyu or Halo U, if you will, Kling, Luma, and even Sora. It's kind of like on par to that. And again, this is just a connect. This is just a AI, that was created, courtesy of Gronk and courtesy of X.com. Elon Musk, like I said, Elon Musk property, if you will. It was created because it was created as a part of that. But like I said, the catch with Gronk.imagine, the catch with Gronk.imagine is you have to have a subscription if you want to have more time, because they do give you a limitation. I can't count how many they give you before they tell you, hey, your image limit has been reached for the time being, and you got to wait like maybe a couple of hours. I don't know. I don't know how many they give you, but if it's anything identical to what Sora does, because Sora, I have a paid subscription to ChatGPT. I do. I have a paid subscription to ChatGPT, and Sora, comes along with it. Sora 2 comes along with it, and I looked at Sora 2, like as I've talked about before when I said I tried it out, and it's actually pretty good. The only catch with it and Gronk.imagine is because of the connections with these outlets, the connections with OpenAI and the connections with X.com. They have limitations, and those limitations can be, I guess you could say, avoided, if you will, if you go up a subscription, if you know what I mean. I mean, for example, I think if you do the $30 subscription for Gronk, the Super Gronk-4 as they call it, or the Super Gronk-4, you do that, and you're going to be okay. You'll get more time, more opportunities, and all that, and that sounds great. But when it comes to OpenAI, even if you have, let's say, the $20 subscription, like I do, yeah, you'll get access and everything, and that's great. That's perfect. But the catch is the $20 only gets you about 30 generates, if you will, 30 AI video generates a day. Image-wise, I'm not really sure. There might be a little bit more. But, through OpenAI, Sora 2 only gives you about 30 generates on a 24-hour cycle. And you might say, well, that's enough, because let's say you're working and you come home and you're tired and, you just want to, kick back, do certain things and all that. Here, just do this for a bit and then go rest for a while after that. That works out. It does. It does, but when you're someone that's looking for work like I am and everything, and you're pretty much passing the day by basically doing what you are doing, what you have to, if you will, to pass it by, like in this case creating video content for YouTube. It's kind of like hard not to lose yourself sometimes into creating this, either on your computer, your PC, your laptop, or your MetaQuest, or your tablet, or whatever. It's hard to not lose yourself creating this stuff, and then before you know it, you hit your limitation. And I think if you're going to let people have access to this through a paid subscription, then what you need to do is make sure you give them unlimited access. You don't need to limit them. You don't need to limit them, because when you do, it's basically showing that, yeah, all you're out for is the money, and yeah, people got access to all these other amenities, if you will, but, you eliminate them on the creativity, and that's not good. That's not good. But, one can understand maybe why they're doing it. Because I think those at OpenAI, the AI is in the name, if that makes any sense for what I'm about to say, they kind of understand that the AI over time can misread certain prompts. Like certain prompts could be more very, for an outlet like Sora 2, people could put prompts in there that are very, very suggestive, and it's like, okay, why did this allow this to go through? What's going on? Da da da. It's surprising, and then all of a sudden they have to, retract. They have to retract, that prompt. They have to retract it, and basically refund the credits, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. They basically want you to have your creation, but the best way they're going to prevent it from happening is to let you know, hey, this probably has such and such in it, so we're not going to allow it. And then that's the other catch too. Apparently, because I looked this up online on Google, apparently, even if you don't get what you're wanting, if you know what I mean, instead of refunding you your time, in other words, refunding you that slot and everything for, for another creation that you could create, another video generate that you can create, instead of refunding you that or giving it back to you, they count that. They count that message they give you of, hey, this is not going to go through and all that. They count that, potentially as, an AI generate. In other words, from what I understand, is if let's say you want to, create something image or text-wise that's very almost near NFSW, near risque, if you will, and you think, okay, they're going to do it. Sora 2 is going to do it, right? But then they give you that message. What that message is basically is not only saying they're not going to be able to do it because of so maybe certain words or certain things in the image that you have to edit, and once you do, that's okay, or at least you would think it's okay. Basically, instead of saying, hey, this is not going to go through and we're going to give you back, we're going to refund you, give you back the spot you wasted. Instead, according to what I've learned online, they count that as part of your usage. So let's say, I create something, like right now, if I create something to where I want to have, because one of the things I've been doing is I've been taking some of these images that I think his name is Bolusmark, has been creating of Minerva Mink and Wilfred Wolf from Animaniacs, and which is kind of like a play on when they meet under the moonlight and everything and moon over Minerva. Anyway, long story short, to get to the point anyway, basically I've been adding in certain scenarios like, okay, she's going to melt because she's impressed by his muscles, because there's one picture that shows off him showing off his muscles to her. So I'm figuring, okay, she's going to melt, and it works. You can put in what you want to see, and they actually will give it to you. Or I would say, okay, she's impressed by his muscles, that it causes her to turn, shapeshift, morph into a rocket, and she takes off. It works. Perfect. Kind of. Because sometimes it will give you what you want, but then it will suddenly have it pop back up to normal. It's like, you're not supposed to do that, but again, it's AI, it's still learning. But point I'm getting at is I have all these kind of scenarios going on, right? So let's say I do that, but then I decide, okay, let's have, the same image. Let's use the same image, that I'm talking about. And let's have Minerva strip. Let's have her strip. Well, let's have her take off her arm dresses, her arm sleeves, if you will, her dress sleeves, if you will. Let's have her take those off, and then maybe kind of start to teasingly, pull at her top. Let's say I decide to put that in there, right? Let's say I decide to put that in there. You would think, oh, it's going to give it to you. It's going to give it to you, right? Because you're not showing anything. She's only removing her dress sleeves, if you will. And she's just teasing it, pulling, taking the top off. Nothing being shown, right? Nothing, right? Guess what would happen? Sora would not put that through. They'd give me the message, and basically, because I tried for it, again, you would think I'd get a refund of that spot. I'd get a reclaiming of that spot, but instead they would count that spot. They would count, that message and that attempt that I was trying to get at. They would count that as a usage, of the AI prompt. So in other words, let's say because it's a 24-hour cycle, right? Because that's what they base it on, a 24-hour cycle. let's say I started right now, which is it's almost 8:30 a.m. Let's say I started right now, right? And it's basically about 30 prompts a day. It's 30 prompts a day because even if you do like one prompt, but you still haven't gone through the 24-hour cycle, it's going to say you did 29. You need to wait for a bit, and you need to wait a couple of hours before you can do more. But anyway, point I'm getting at is, let's say I start, like I said, it's almost 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Let's say I start right now, the whole 24-hour cycle, and I get that one picture of her melting or shapeshifting into some kind of object out of excitement, because that's what she was known to do in her cartoons anyway. Let's say, let's say that happens, right? Let's say that happens, and basically the next one, like I said, I want to try something a little different, something a little bit more naughtily, very naughtily for the character, right? And I don't get it to happen, but I get the message. That message would count as one of my two. That's what it would count as. This is one of my two. So in other words, instead of me just still having 29 more to go, I would now have 28. If that makes any sense. I know it sounded confusing for me just to get to the point, but you get it. That's how confusing it is. How convoluted it is even to me. Because that's how they structure it. That's how they structure it. But again, what I'm trying to say is, you would think paying the $20 a month, they would give you unlimited range, if you will, to create whatever you want. But no, you got like a 30. You basically got a 30 AI video limitation, maybe the same, maybe a little bit more of the same, if not similar to image, because images are, they cost less, so you get a little bit more out of that. So basically you would say, well, wait a minute, why are you limiting me and I'm paying you monthly? It's because they want you to jump higher. Yeah, they want you to jump higher in subscription cost by $180. That's right, $180 a month. I would understand a year at $200, okay, but not $200 a month. But they want you to jump up to $200 a month to basically get near unlimited access. Near unlimited access. And I'm like, that is stupid. That is stupid and everything. But that's what they want you to do. They want you to jump up to $180 more from the $20 monthly subscription to, get access to that. To get access maybe to an unlimited usage of the video AI and all that, and not just be limited. Because what you have to do is you have to figure out, okay, if I did one and everything, but I still have, some others locked away, other spots locked away into a certain time period, basically you have to you basically right now you have to figure out, okay, when is that 24-hour cycle going to be up, right? So for me, I did like, I think one or two this morning, and that counts to the 24-hour cycle from, I think, yesterday or something like that. So it makes me wonder, okay, how much longer do I have to wait till I have a clear path? And I shouldn't have to do that. What I should be doing is being able to have unlimited access and everything, if you know what I mean. That's the one reason I like Halo U. That's the one reason I like Kling. That's the one reason I like Luma, if you will. Yeah, I think Kling, Luma, VDU, that's why I like them. Halo U, that's why I like them, because of the fact that you don't have to, well, you do have a limitation based on your credits, but at least they let you know. Like Artlist, when they complement them all together, at least they let you know, depending on how they view it, and how they, decipher it and all that. At least they let you know what you're going to have limitation, not limitations of, but how many videos and images you can create with what you have. At least they're letting you know that. Because I know, like, let's say for example, I decide to get 500 credits from Halo U down the line, right? Let's say I decide to do that. They have this new 3.1 out, which is basically an upgrade of their 2. It's a 3.1, it's more professional and everything. Basically, it's supposed to be like, I think, their answer to Kling's Master, 2.0 Master or something like that. Because it's basically priced around the, credit-wise, it's priced around the same price. 100 credits, 200 credits, depending on how long you go. But anyway, Anyway, let's say I want to go to 500 credits. I know that basically creating 5-second images or 8-second images under 100 credits, in Halo U's new 3.1, I know creating 5 of those would waste me just like that. I'd be wasted, it'd be gone just like that. $5 gone just like that. you know. And I know that if I was to go a little higher, like let's say with the 20 and get 2,000, or the 10 and get 1,000, yeah, I'd have a little bit more, but I'd have to basically be very, strategic on how I'd want to use it. Like, do I want to go 2.0? Do I want to go 3.1? It all depends on which one is I guess you could say, exact, more close to accurate with your prompt, if you know what I mean. But again, I understand that I have a limitation there. I understand when I look at my my usage, my credit usage, if you will. I understand that certain credits, will give me, or the certain credits I have remaining, I should say, will allow me usage of, allow me usage. I'm trying to find the right word to say. Allow me usage for this kind of AI prompt or creation and this kind of AI prompt. Like Luma, right now I have like 55 credits remaining. They're telling me right now I only have enough for like maybe, 30, 10 images, and 0 videos. But if I had enough, like in the thousands or something like that, I'd have enough to do like some videos and everything, and I'd be good to go. Things like that. At least, again, at least they would let me know. Kling, in a way, lets you know as well, because basically, depending on what you use, they will let you know, hey, if you go and use our master, a 2.0 master, or 2.0 non-master, or 2.1 whatever, if you use that, if you do like the new 2.1 and everything, or maybe even the master one, I don't know if there's a master one, I gotta look again, but you use the 2.1, you want like 5 seconds of footage, it's gonna cost you 25 credits, not bad. You want 10 credits, 10 seconds of footage, it's going to cost you 50 credits. That's not bad. So you get you kind of get an idea of, okay, let's say I have 200 credits and, I want to do, some 25-second clips on Kling and everything, then you know that you could do at least 8 of them. But if you wanted to do 10 seconds of them, then you only do 4. You know that. So you know your limitation there. Same with Pixverse. Pixverse that I use mostly like to extend videos because that's what it does. You know that even if you have like 4,000 or something like that, if you go a little higher, depending on the resolution and how many seconds you want, it can go by fast. Believe me, I know. But what I'm saying and what I'm getting at is this. What I'm saying and getting at is this. I totally get limiting people and everything, but you need to let them know. You need to let them know that when you're, signing up for the subscription, and maybe I didn't see it, and maybe they did, but even if not, because I swear I didn't see it, but when you're doing that, you need to let people know, hey, you're only going to be limited to a 30 videos, every 24 hours. Like every 24-hour cycle, you got to let them know. Every 24-hour cycle, you're going to be limited to 30 videos. So you got to be careful about what you do. That's what they need to tell you. But they don't. You got to figure that out yourself. You got to be like, okay, I'm going to start, at 10 a.m. and let's see what goes from there. And they need to let you know that. They need to let you know that, okay, 10 a.m. the next day, it's going to reset, even if you just use 1 or 2 prompts, and you have like 28, more options remaining. Come 10 a.m. the next day, it's going to reset, and you're going to get those slots you used back, and there you go. Or maybe they should add to it. So like, because that's what sometimes some of these other ones do when they, renew the subscription. And for the subscriber, they will add to what the subscriber has on there already. They will. They will add on to it. Even if it's paid credits, they will add on to it. And I think if OpenAI wants Sora 2 to be, the best, be the top of the line, if you know what I mean, they want it there, then what they need to do with Sora 2, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, is they need to basically, when they do the 24-hour reset, they need to add on to it. That's what they need to do. So instead of being like, okay, you're back to 30, if let's say you have 27 remaining because you only use 3 slots, just add the 30 to the 27, 57. There you go. And guess what? People will gravitate more towards you because on a daily basis, you're giving them more opportunities. Yes, you don't have the transition part. You don't have the scene to scene part, which I think they need to add to really put them over the top, along with the extension. Once they do those two things, as I said before about Halo U, once they add in, the extending part, and like I've said the same with VDU, once they start adding those, it's going to be game over. It's going to be game over. You're going to have top competitors, go alongside the VEO 3 and 2 by Google, the Kling, if you will. You're going to have these. You're going to have a real tight race to the top. To the top of who's going to be the best video AI, image AI outlet out there. That's what you're going to have. And if I'm any of them, I do what I can, with these upcoming updates and everything to make that happen. And if Sora 2 wants to be more than what it is right now, because right now it's still under that controversy and everything, because people are using it to create this and create that, and not many companies or people are liking it. But if they want to basically get into good graces and not only prevent that from happening, but also basically get in the good graces of just the regular consumers that like to create, like not as a profession, but let's say from a hobby perspective, and everything. Let's say they want to do that, then the best way to get into good graces is just give people unlimited opportunities, no matter what the subscription is, paid wise, that is, no matter what the paid subscription is, give them unlimited opportunities, as well as add on daily to the usage. So that way, again, if they're only using like 3 slots and they have 27 left, add to that, you have 57, so on and so forth. Because the more you add on for them, the more you add on for them, yeah, they'll use it. But basically, they don't have to worry about being told, okay, you've reached your quota for the 24-hour cycle. You got to wait maybe another 4 or 5 hours. So to me, Sora 2 needs to fix that. Fix that in this manner that I've mentioned. And once they do that, and let's say they decide to add the transition scene to scene, as well as the extension, unlimited or limited, depending on what they do, they're going to be golden. And the same with Gronk.imagine. You go that route where you're like, okay, we have the option of saying, here's spicy, here's fun, and normal, because again, spicy gets put in there depending on your prompt description as well as your image usage or whatever. But once you get that in there, what Gronk.imagine needs to do to really put themselves over the top is not only do the same things that I've mentioned for Sora to do, but also what they need to do is really just go all out. You're going to add in that spicy. You're going to eventually have to sync the prompts up with the fun, normal, and spicy options that you give people before they have your AI render it and create it or attempt to create it. If you really want to be at that top, the top of the food chain, you need to go all out, and you need to let them, have what they're asking for. You need to let them have what they're prompting for, even if it's NFS risky material or prompts. You need to let them do that. Even if it's NFSW risky like prompts. You need to let them do that, because if you're going to add in spicy, you might as well just let them go all the way. If you know what I mean, you might as well just let them go all the way. But to me, it's just one of those situations to where the potential for these two outlets are there. They are there. They just need to capitalize on it. And right now, I'm going to say this. Apparently, if you believe any reports, ChatGPT through OpenAI, they're going to now, I guess, use age verification, if you will. I don't know how they're going to do that. Well, I wouldn't say it's age verification. Well, yeah, it is going to be age verification, but again, I don't know how they're going to do this. Because I already let them know that, hey, I'm of age. You don't have to worry about me, but I guess they're going to want some verification. Because apparently there's a report that, they're going to be open to the idea, or at least they're finalizing to being open to the idea of allowing more mature content, prompt-wise, on their service. And they used to have this, believe it or not. I'm not lying. When I would ask ChatGPT to create a story when it first started, it would actually create it, but then of course they started getting bigger and they started having the limitations, and they're saying, no, we can't do this and that. But now all of a sudden it sounds like they're going to go back to that, because apparently they're realizing, hey, you got this Venice.ai, which is like us, but they're they're kind of more like of what we used to be. They're noticing that's getting traction. They're like, oh, no, 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 we're not going to let that get traction. So they're deciding, in my opinion, to go back to what brought them to go back to allowing people to be a little bit more loose, a little bit more freelance, a little bit more risque, if you know what I mean. But the only difference now is they're going to ask for verification of age, or at least some kind of clue to let them know, hey, are you this, or are you that, or are you this, or are you that, and you should be all right. I don't know how they're going to do that, but it's going to be interesting to see. And the reason I bring this up is because by extension, since Sora 2 is a part of OpenAI, and they're basically the ones on board with potentially allowing ChatGPT to go back to that kind of situation that they used to be in long ago when they started. If they're behind this, then I think by extension it's going to affect Sora 2 as well. And what that means is down the line, Sora 2, depending on the age verification, is going to allow people like me and you of age to potentially get a little bit more creative with our ideas. Maybe. Not saying it's going to happen. It might be a separate situation here, but still, it feels like, in my opinion, it feels like that's exactly where we're heading. Because if it's going to start with Chat GPT, and thus extend over to Chat GPT Plus and Pro, then it's going to extend over to Sora. It is. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. But to me, Sora 2 and Gronk.image, they're great. They're really good. There's no doubt. They're not perfect. Like some people like to prompt Sora 2 up as. They're not totally perfect, but they're close. They are probably close. And again, to me, they definitely have to basically take that next step. They have to take that next step to really solidify, being, probably the top at what they do. And whether or not that's doing the transition scene to scene and extension, which I think would help them, or in some cases like with Gronk, and maybe down the line with Sora 2, allowing people, through age verification, a la Sora 2, maybe even Gronk, but mostly Sora 2, allow them to, use the prompt to get a little bit more creative on a risque NFSW level. If it's going to take that as well, then, that's good too. That's a good start as well to get yourself to be the be-all, end-all, if you know what I mean. But that's all I'm going to really say on it, though, guys. Those are just my thoughts. I wanted to get out there after thinking about it and everything. Just get my thoughts on on the overall product, if you will, on both ends. Because again, they both have limitations. Like again, paid or not, it lets you know, hey, you've reached this limit for a few hours. Like Gronk.imagine. If you don't have a subscription there, they say, hey, you've reached this quota. And again, they might do the same 24-hour cycle deal, at least 5 hour, or at least 6 hour, a couple hour cycle on their end. I don't know. But basically, they do limit you. They do limit you depending on the situation. They both, I think, go through the 24-hour cycle. But anyway, like I said, just wanted to give my thoughts on this and all that. And I would like to hear what you guys have to say. What are your thoughts on what I've mentioned here? Have you utilized both of these outlets? What do you think they need to do to get better? What do you think they need to do or what do you think they need to change, as you say, to get better and everything? Let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section if you haven't already in the live chat. I'd love to hear your thoughts overall on everything that I've talked about here. And like I said at the beginning, guys, do me a solid favor, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, and click on the links in the description. But guys, that's all I'm going to really say for right now. Until next time, I will talk to you all later. I'm going to get myself more coffee to wake up more. But let me know what your thoughts are. And until then, I am out.